Good afternoon. Today is Friday, February 15th. I am Michael Carls, and we are back in class today with another great edition here. I am live at Xavier College Prep, and I am about to sit down with starting quarterback Bradley McClure. Brad is going to be a senior next year, led his team to a semifinal bid in the playoffs, a second place finish in the Desert Empire League, and the only quarterback in the Desert Empire to throw for 300 yards in one game. Brad's a great kid, and it's going to be exciting to get in his head and see what the day-to-day life of a quarterback and the day-to-day life of a student at a faith-based school and all of the trials and tribulations that go along with it. And we are actually going to get him on the board also and test his knowledge a bit and see what his chalk talk is like. And I am super excited for that. And it's going to be a great show today. I'm so excited to be able to sit down with Brad. And it's going to be different for me being his coach and offensive coordinator to now I'm interviewing him and trying to see what he knows. And hopefully I did a good job of getting him prepared for all of those types of things. And so it's going to be an excellent show for us today. And we do have a bunch of stuff going on throughout the valley. The spring is kicking off. Teams are getting into the off-season mode for football. Baseball is heating up, and it's getting stronger than ever. And it's just an exciting time to be in the valley. And I'm just excited to be able to talk to these kids and see what it's like growing up right now in the valley and how sports are affecting them. So we are going to take a quick break, and when we do come back, we will have an interview with Bradley McClure, and we're going to get him on the board a little bit also after that. So we are going to take this quick recess, and this is Clahs. And we are back in class for a segment of Hot Mic. I am here with quarterback from Xavier College Prep, Brad McClure. Bradley, what do you like better?
I prefer Brad.
Brad.
People who know me call me Brad.
Well, you got you got the quarterback name already set up. It flows, rolls off the tongue. It's nice, right?
Exactly.
Brad, and this is kind of a fun situation to be in because normally it's coach player and we're working on stuff, and now I get to sit down and talk to you and ask you some questions, and it's been almost like kind of a whirlwind since Coach Dockery has taken over the football program, and a lot of things have been going on. What is the most exciting thing about the football team right now?
I think the most exciting thing would be, just us coming together under Coach Dockery, him being our leader for us and looking up to him to coach us, and kind of his mentality and his mindset and his demeanor we kind of follow, I think, and it kind of shows on the field and on and off the field.
Mm-hmm. And being our staff is we're a young staff, but we're also guys that all played in the Valley together. What's it like having those type of coaches do the things that you guys are doing right now?
I think it kind of builds a competition between us because we all want to. I know every coach here set records, like Coach Pope, Coach Dockery, and you yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a competition where we want to be better or like succeed or like be the same, or not the same, but better than what you guys accomplished.
Right. And I mean, being last year was the first time that Xavier's ever even been in the playoffs. Right. Being at a smaller school like that, that's never really seen something like that. What was it like going to school on the weekdays and preparing for Fridays? Were the other students excited? Were teachers excited? Were you getting compliments? What was that like?
Yeah, I got a few compliments here and there from certain teachers because some of the teachers who have been here for so long since the beginning, they've never seen playoff football from Xavier. Mm-hmm. So I was getting a few compliments from my science teacher, and he was always asking who we were playing that week and how they looked, and he was very interested in it. So it's just good to see the community come together for football. Right. Something we love. So.
And it brings your whole student body together into one common goal that you guys can all be proud of, and be honest about this. You guys as the football team, did you expect to make it as far as you guys did last year?
I think the beginning of the season didn't lay out the rest of the season. So the beginning of the season we were 1-3, not looking too hot, kind of like maybe a replay of the year before. But I think what brought us together was just leadership from within the group of players, because we all came together at one point and talked about our season, how we need to turn things around. Mm-hmm. So it just took us that one game for us to turn things around, and then we went on a roll going into league.
Right, and I think one of the biggest things was that your very first game-winning drive and score against Rancho Mirage. What type of atmosphere was that like with you guys being able to, because it's always been at Xavier, can just never quite get over the hump, can never just quite get that last score to win games and stuff like that. So being a part of a game-winning drive like that, what does that do for your team and for you?
So the week before, we had the major accident for the 3 kids, so we were all. The beginning of that week was really tough for us just because we had to deal with all the drama and all that. But going into that week, I think we all just kind of realized how important this game would be for both our school and for us as a group. So we were being down in the first half and then coming back in the second half, I think it just really set the tone about, we're out here to play and we're out here to compete with other schools no matter how big our school is, and a small group is better to come together than a big school, I feel like.
Right, and you hit the nail on the head. It's the resiliency of you guys. So many times, especially from us coaches to you guys, we try to push you as far as we can and as hard as we can, and it just always seems that no matter how hard you guys get hit, you're always getting back up, right? A game like when we play against Aquinas and they kind of just are able to do whatever they want to us, because it's X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's, right. And they just have more guys and are just been together for longer. That can completely tear a team apart and ruin seasons, but you guys are able to overcome all of those things and come together and be one unit. And like you said, being a smaller group actually helps weed out some of those guys that don't want to be a part of it or aren't buying in, and then you get that core guys that really do bring you together. Right. And being at, like we said, a small school and Xavier being a faith-based school, what's it, or I should say, being a faith-based school, how does that impact you on a day-to-day basis?
So I've grown up in the Catholic, I've been Catholic my entire life. I went to Sacred Heart, where they teach, it's Catholic school, Catholic private school, and, went through all the baptism, First Communion, reconciliation, all that. So growing up, seeing the faith and just like that belief in in God, I think it really kind of helped me get through Xavier probably easier than other people, because they might struggle just with the whole faith thing and not coming from that background. So, and relating to football, I think it helps us just like come together under one belief, I guess. Just because we always say the Our Father after every practice, every game.
Right.
No matter the result of the game, we might have gotten beat, really bad, but just kind of pushing everything to the side. It's like the reason why we're playing. We're playing for God and like AMDG and all that.
Right. And when you talk about faith and you talk about God and what kind of impact that has on you, I always think about it, and I don't think anybody ever really thinks about this, but like the faith and belief you have in something like that, like something like religion, and being able to believe in something that you tangibly can't see, I believe that helps in a team aspect in terms of being able to believe and have faith in each other to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you want to do. Now, obviously, you have to put the effort in, but faith and belief is the biggest thing, because if you have guys that you rely on and they don't believe that you're going to win the game before the game even starts, then you got problems. Right. So having a guy being at a school that instills that faith and belief, that's something that really translates really well to the football field. And just like how the SoCal Coyotes we're faith, family, and football the same way, I think that's an impact that really helps bring teams together, and it brings that unity together, like Definitely. We were talking about.
Definitely, yeah.
Your first year starting as a quarterback, sophomore, was a tough thing, right?
Yes.
The hits and all of that, and me being a first year quarterback coach and OC and calling the plays and seeing the hits that you had to take, it ripped me up a lot, like, because it felt like I couldn't help you at all. But tell me how that experience that year has helped you become a better quarterback.
So my sophomore year, I was just trying to get through it as in one piece, not trying to I was playing my hardest, but sometimes I just feel like it wasn't enough. So I had to try to put things to the side, where I just had to focus on getting through the season and getting my experience in, and so I can become like a better quarterback for the next year. Right. And then it really made me a better quarterback, just because taking all those hits, like I had to get up after everyone. I always tell myself, get up after everything, no matter what. Like, even if you're hurt, get up and don't show pain or don't show weakness. And that's
especially, watching some of those hits, and you don't really, to the untrained eye of like somebody that doesn't really watch football, they don't understand that being able to stand in there and make, even if it's just like a 5-yard out and you're getting rocked on that. That's not easy to do, guys. Like me in high school, I wouldn't stand in there and take those hits. I'm running. Get away from me. I'm not getting hit. And so watching a sophomore quarterback stand in there and take those hits, that's something that's promising. That's something that you can improve on. And so that you made it through that season, and going into that off season, what was something that you wanted to make sure that you did? Because I was here every single day. We were working every single day, no matter what, working on our craft, working on the stuff. Yeah. So what was something that you wanted to make sure that you worked on the most?
The most, that I worked on the most probably was board work, and just getting on the board and seeing reads and coverages and what the defense does, and how I need to go from one receiver to another if I need a check down, and just certain situations that'll make me better for the game situation. And then obviously coming back to fundamentals and making sure everything's to the T, where I am able to just have everything corrected and fundamental.
Yep, the rhythm and on time, and being able to make all of those throws. And that was huge from just being like most of the time it was just practically either me and you or one receiver or two receivers. But I think what was the biggest impact was, yes, you did all of that work, but was when coming back into this season, everybody else that didn't work got to see, oh shoot, Brad got 10 times better, and it was all just because he put in the work in the offseason and made those types of sacrifices. And so now, I mean, this offseason, now you got guys that they want to work with you, and we're trying to get better and build that chemistry, right? Mm-hmm. So being that this is going to be your senior season, third year starting for Xavier Prep. And you're the guy. The offense is going to run through you because there's no more Fabrice Voynes, there's no more Tommy Branconiers, there's no more Juan Luas, right? So this is your show now. So what is one thing that you want to be able to do to keep your team in games?
I want to be able to have my team rely on me, being able to make big throws like in third and long situations, or an end of the game situation where we really need to score, or just not even being in those situations where we can just go out and just start like the first quarter, first drive, get a touchdown, defense makes a stop, and we're just rolling through every team, you know. And
and what's awesome is we've seen glimpses of that on both sides. I mean, going into Palm Springs at Palm Springs, first drive of the game, boom, 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 right. pass, touchdown, and they didn't even know what hit them, right? And that kind of set the tone for the entire game. And now almost you come back to those big-time third down plays, and we're talking 3rd and 19 at the end of the first half to take the lead. That's some big-time stuff, and that's having those guys being able to trust what you're seeing and trust what they're seeing to make those plays. One of the ones that I wanted to touch on too was you talk about at the end of the game being able to your teammates being able to rely on you. We're at La Quinta, last game of the season. If we don't win this game, we probably don't make the playoffs, right? It's crunch time. It's now or nothing. And I think the ball was on like the 20-something yard line, on our 20-something yard line, about 2 minutes to go in the game. What is running through your mind?
That game was a blur, to be honest. I mean, it was such a crazy atmosphere. But the one thing I remember, before that drive, our defense got to stop, like you said, on the 20-yard line, maybe 20 and in. And I remember Coach Pope telling me, be a junior quarterback and go win us this game. And I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I kind of just threw all my emotions to the side, and I just went through all the fundamentals and just made sure I got everything right, all my reads right. And, you know, it was there was one point in that drive where I think we had like 2 penalties in a row, and it was like 3rd and short, and the 2 penalties brought us back to about like maybe 3rd and 18, 3rd and 17. And I remember we ran a slant from the single dip side, and the trip side we had, I think it was switch or something like that. Yeah. And we I just was making sure I got 2 guys to go out, and I just hit the slant right behind him, and Trevor Anderson picked up the first down, and that's when I knew we're winning this game. That was it.
Right. And not to mention, to cap it off, the game-winning throw from like 20-something yards out on the singled-up side, taking your one-on-one matchup. And, your guy beat him, but the throw was on the money, right? And that caps off your very first ever 300-yard game, something I never did in high school at Palm Springs. And it was so fun to see, and all of that work put in, and it shows like that you can do all of those things. Like the one thing that I want to see next year, obviously, is, Brad, you have this dog in you. You have this fight. You have this fury in you that wants to come out, and it does on certain situations. He does. He comes out and makes all these plays, and it's so dope. But like there are other times where you're like afraid to release him, like it's like almost like you're holding yourself back. So just from seeing that and from seeing the plays that you make, you can do all of those things. Let them out. Let it rip. Right. Don't be it's now or never anymore, because it's senior year. Now we don't have to worry. We don't need to worry about any outside noise anymore. We don't need to worry about getting benched or this or that, all of these things, right? This is my show. And so the way that the quarterback position needs to be coached is everybody is different. you're different from me. I mean, your coach is 5'10", you're 6'6". How the heck am I supposed to be able to teach you that?
Yeah.
But like, your game is different, and guys in the Valley, their games are different. So let them be themselves. Let you be yourself and dictate how you want to play your game. And that was one of the fun things that as a coach was able to try to figure out is, okay, what I like isn't necessarily what he likes.
Right.
And so being able to give you those tools and those options is huge. And now being able to take from what you learned on the board, we have conversations where it's, oh, well, we were already thinking about the same play, or we like the same looks here, and now realizing what you like more than other things, and then putting you in those situations helps a lot. And that's something that that coaches need to do more of is, you know, and it's tough because everybody thinks they know how to play quarterback, right? So when you come off the field, you have how many guys that come up to you and say, you should have threw here, you should have thrown there, you should have did this, you should have did that, rather than you're the one playing, you're the one back there. Why don't I ask you what you're seeing? Like, what's going on with you that's making you uncomfortable? And then we can sort it out from that. You know, and it's been so fun to watch you mature, and I always get giddy here and there. You make these big time throws and stuff, and you know, one of the things that you know that you always get grief for is, you know, being that you're 6'6", you don't move as well as other guys, but I would put your footwork up against a lot of other quarterbacks. So what is, even though that would be, I would say that would be something that people would say is your weakness, what is your strength, or what is something that separates you from other quarterbacks around?
I think what separates me is probably just being able to know situational things and just football IQ in general. You know, having trying to be as smart as I can, and just knowing that I might be the smartest guy on the field, and that I am able to like determine defenses before they even get into them, or what they're going to run based off film from the week before, leading up to the game, and just having everything in my mind, and being mentally strong in games, and just making certain throws.
Right, and that's so funny that you said it's the game of football is so mental, and people think you're just running around getting hit and all these things, right?
Yeah.
But it's a thinking game,
right.
And being the quarterback position, you have to think about all these things that happen, and then the play is 3-4 seconds long, right? So it's unbelievable, and that's what separates. And you're saying that separates yourself. That's what separates the goods from greats, is being able to study and take that kind of knowledge and put it to use. And I mean, being a high school student, and what's your GPA?
4.0.
And the proof is in the pudding. You know,
Right.
Being able to put in that work in school, even though, I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't a type of kid that, I really enjoyed this AP English assignment that I did. No, but that was something that you had to do. Or, you know, watching film at 10, 11 at night, like, man, I just really want to just go to bed, but I got to make sure I know my covered threes and all of that. It's all of those things that, you know, you have to put in that time and effort, and it not many people know. And it's all the stuff that you do behind closed doors that, even though you should get credit for, that the people that are just naysayers and this and that, they won't, because they just see what the facts are and what this is and what that is. Right. What would you say is the most difficult part about me being your coach? Don't laugh. And be honest.
I think the most difficult part would be just having, I don't know. Maybe I know, well, we're like connected because you being so young, and like, you know, we have that not so much of an age gap, whereas like other coaches like might be a lot older than their players. So I think that has pros and cons, just because, you know, you've played football a lot, but you watching football and like being a coach, I think that's probably the the worst part of it. Just like, knowing when a certain kid does, or like a kid does a certain action on the field, and then like it's detrimental to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how to fix that, just based on experience of like an older coach, as would, which is something that like you might not have yet.
Right.
Just stuff like that.
Right. If I would had to say the most difficult part about being a coach versus player, and because I do it all the time, I have trouble like explaining what I want you to do.
Right.
So I always have to just like show you, right? And it's like kind of difficult like to figure that out. It's just because I'm like, all right, well, you just do it like this, and boom, 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 boom. Well, that's something you've never done. So like, how can you just flat out do it? And you do an unbelievable job at times, me throwing stuff at you and just kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to ever like overload you with information or stuff you don't need, right? Stuff that you'll never use. But when if there's anything that I do say, that I always try to make sure that it's something that you can apply. What would you say is the best part about having me as your coach?
The fun that we have, honestly.
Right.
Whatever that might sound like, but just like we're always fired up about games. Like, we're always pumped up about just the competitiveness and wanting to go beat another team, and just like, and the mental like game that you have. Like it's really really you've taught me a lot about just on the board work and footwork and just things like that. Just the whole and being a better football player overall. So I think that's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's always fun when you come to the sidelines, because like say it's like say it was like a 3-and-out or something like that. You'll get 2, 3, 4 people that go, oh, that guy was open, that was open, and then you'll come to me and normally I'm just there, wrap my arm around you, and okay, well, like let's just talk about whatever happened. Like forget what just happened, because there's nothing we can do. Like what's the point of dwelling on that stuff? And that was that was tough for your first year because of the turnovers that we had, and we were trying to figure out what kind of offense we were, and throwing the ball around and not really knowing our reads and stuff like that. So it can be difficult at times to always stay encouraged and stay positive and having your head up and chest up and making sure your guys don't see you down, right? What do you expect, or what are your expectations for your team next year?
I expect us to definitely be a competitor for the number 1 spot in the league, and to we just want to go out there and play and just show everyone that we compete with people, and no matter what you say about us, we're going to go out there and compete, and on any given day we can beat any given team. So.
Dang right. And it's last year especially was funny for us as coaches because, being a small team, our JV team is small too. And so most of our freshman, sophomore, better players have to play on varsity, right? So teams would come in and, give us a good one on Thursdays on JV, and they'll win expecting the same result on Fridays, and realize that, oh, wow, Xavier comes and hits people in the mouth, and they're not going to back down from anyone no matter what. Right. And that is huge. That's huge from your leadership standpoint because of, like you said, being able to stand in there and take those hits and not complaining and not blaming other people and being below the line like that. And I swear, you're like the nicest kid I've ever met because you're always so generous and nice to everyone else, regardless of whether they mess up or drop the ball or anything like that. You're always just, it's on me. Like that's on me. And that's tough. As a quarterback, especially, and you're trying to grow and continue and develop, that's tough for quarterbacks to do, is to just, even though it's not their fault, they just eat it. And it helps because other players on the team, they see that. And other good players on the team will understand, well, no, that wasn't his fault. But he took that just because, that's what leaders do. As a two-sport athlete at a small school, you play football and you play basketball, do you feel like there's any pressure to have to carry your school?
What do you mean by that? Like,
well, so like being like the quarterback on the football team, right? You're always going to be looked at as the guy that either wins or loses the game, and you get all the praise if you win, and you're the first one to get grief if you lose, right? And then having to go through an entire season, get to the playoffs, and then roll right into playing. You're our big man on the basketball team, right? You're the center there too. So having to go through all that, and then now you got to take a pounding inside in basketball. So do you feel like being at a small school and not having like at Palm Springs when I was there, I wasn't playing basketball. I was the football guy because we had enough basketball guys.
Right.
So being at a small school, do you feel like that there is that kind of pressure to excel at both sports?
Well, football for me is probably the where I had like not necessarily take it more like I don't take football more serious than basketball. I take them both serious at the same time, but it's where I feel like I need to kind of excel more just because of my role in my position. Whereas in basketball, we have so many great players that I'm there to fill the role that they can't fill, being my height and being the presence down low and inside. So, and honestly, basketball is just it's kind of a relief from football and all the stress that we go through and all the like drama and all the like I said, stress. So going into basketball, I've been playing basketball since I was probably kindergarten, second grade.
Baller.
Yeah. And so just being like going from football to basketball, it's kind of refreshing, and another group of guys that I get along very well with, and seeing both sides of the spectrum, like basketball compared to football. 10 guys versus 22 guys on a field, inside a court, weather conditions, inside your, just stuff like that.
Right.
So it's just fun to see both.
And that's like such a good way to put it, because like as the quarterback, you're the leader and everybody looks to you. But then being a role player basically for the basketball team and fitting that role and helping other guys get open and do all those things, you're not always looked at as the focal point of everything, right? So taking that, being like a role player for basketball and then being the leader on the football team, how do you think that helps you build a chemistry with just people in general, or like the people at your school?
I'm able to see both sides of it, where I have like maybe like arguably the most important role in football, being the quarterback, but then not the most important role in basketball. So I'm able to see how I need to act in certain situations. Like, am I a role player, or am I the one that needs to take charge and better the people around me?
Right.
But I'm able to better the people around me doing both.
Right. And then, so you say that because, as being a top athlete at your school, you're always looked at as like, you're known by more people around, and it's more of like the popular thing in this. But you as a person, like that hasn't changed you. Like, you're still friends with the guys that you've been friends with, and you're ride or die with the last guy on the team, whether he's the best or the worst guy on the team, right? And as a leader, that is huge, to be able to still be the humble Brad McClure. I'm just the guy, aw shucks, I'm everyone's friend, but I can turn it on and be a leader when I need to be.
Right.
And seeing that, it's now you're able to be friends with guys in one point, but when you walk into that weight room or you step between those lines, now they know it's time to work, and Brad's here to work, and I better listen to him, or I'm doing something wrong, right? And that's huge at Xavier Prep, and having that leadership. And when I first got here, I remember trying to, it wasn't like forcing you to be a leader, but just telling you, if you're going to be the quarterback, you're automatically a leader, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So you can lead by example, and you can do those things, but somebody has to be the one to step up and talk and speak. But that person also can't be in the back, jogging and being the last one and not taking things seriously. And that's what is so great about you, is because, as a leader, you do lead by example. You're in the weight room every single day. Guys see you in there every day, but you're also not the one fooling around and joking when it's time to get serious. And that's tough for some guys, even though they're the most popular or they are everybody's friend. That's tough for them to do too, is be able to turn it on and off of being friend to leader, right?
Right.
Now, we talked about us competing as one of the better teams in the DEL.
Right.
And we always have fun, like, going on to the 7-on-7 stuff and all the other teams around us. And it feels like, especially like when we would go to like local 7-on-7 stuff, it feels like everybody is always just trying to like keep us at the bottom, like always just trying to beat us down. But it's like the culture has changed.
Definitely.
The culture has definitely changed, and it's changed amongst you guys. And the key for winning the championship or getting to further in the playoffs, I mean, semifinals is already crazy enough, but being able to put you guys into that position is that chemistry that you guys have and that leadership that you bring, and keeping that outside noise out.
Right.
And that it's difficult to do, especially when you, even from your sometimes we hear it from our own stands and people that don't show up to the games because one time that we got beat, but the next time we won, and this and that, and it fluctuates. So what's it like for you guys on the football team to be able to put all the people behind you and say that no matter what our size is, we can do what we can do?
Just being like tightly knit as a group, like I said, like being a smaller group, we're able to just ignore all the other people, and whether they have to say good or bad things about us, we don't care. We're just going to go out there and play as one unit and just be in a group of brothers, and like our coaches are the ones that, you guys are always reminding us to, no matter what people say, just go out there and play, and just like go out there and play for you and yourselves as a group, because in the end, it's really, you're the ones on the field, and we're the ones on the field who are making those plays, and we have to go through all the behind the scenes actions and everything and situations. So people just see like the game time when we might make a few mistakes, but we know that in practice we had those same mistakes that we made. We made those mistakes in practice and we got rid of them, but then in the game they just happened to reappear. So people don't see that, like, that we are improving every game no matter what. Right.
And because it's funny, football, I swear, is like the only sport that you practice more than you actually play, right? And so people don't see all of that practice that you have to put in and all the time and all of those throws. What's the one thing that you want to improve on the most?
I want to improve on just consistency with my throws, being like, I had a lot of instances where last year where I was missing an easy throw, or just and I think the reason why I was missing those easy throws was just being not, I guess, lazy is the best way to put it.
Right.
Like not fully having the same rhythm in my throws and just everything. So just being consistent in everything.
Right. Because you see a throw that you've made 100 times in practice, and then it just comes in the game and it's just easy, and you're just, oh, dang it, like, just because I didn't have my hips set up the right way or this or that.
Right.
You have a flurry of receivers coming back, right?
Definitely.
We have Trevor Anderson and Logan Pesco and Martin Martinez, right? I mean, that's just three guys right off the bat there. Lloyd DeClots being a fourth, and Tyler Savello, your guy that's always underneath catching stuff. What's it going to be like going into a huddle for the first time without Fabrice?
Well, now I guess as we would say, we kind of relied on Fabrice to make a lot of our plays and make some big time plays. But now, since he was one guy that we had, but now we have 5 guys, six guys, 7 guys who can make up and maybe even do better than what we had with Fabrice. And it's really great that we had Fabrice, because now we're able to see how much. Now we're going to be able to see how much like he had an impact on the game.
Right.
So now we need to fill that spot and do even more, because now we have more guys who want to be like him, where he was, making plays all over the field. So we want to do that with our entire group.
Since we've been here and Coach Dockery being a defensive guy, our defense has been dang near lights out in almost all of our games.
Right.
And a guy like Tommy, who was top 10 in California in tackles last year. Now him being gone and our defense not having as many impact players as we had last year, do you feel like that we're going to have to lean on the offense a little bit more in games?
We might have to, I feel like, but just because we have more, I guess you'd say, more guys. Well, we have guys both playing both sides, but some guys excel better in offense, and some guys excel better in defense. And I say we have more guys who excel better in offense than we do defense. So, and we might have to rely on the offense more, but I think our defense is being under Coach Dockery is really able. They're really able to see that now we need to come together more and not have so many impact more, and just be the nitty-gritty guys who are able to make plays no matter what, and not rely on one guy.
And I think that's probably one of the most difficult parts for high school football players or high school athletes in general to try to figure out. It's, yes, you're a singular person and you want to do your singular job, and of course everybody always wants to get the ball, but if you do something different than your job, it messes up the entire thing. Right. So it's being able to be selfless and running routes that even though you think you should get the ball here, you may not, and it opened up for someone else, right? And it's having that it's having that mindset of, I'm here to do my job, yes, but it's for one good common cause,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
My last thing. Are you ready to be the best quarterback in the Valley?
I definitely am. I believe I am. And I just, we didn't get the result that we wanted last year. But now this year I'm just looking forward and just saying, just go out there and play and just do what you can do. And just my biggest struggle is honestly myself, having to battle with myself and my all the mental issues, not mental issues, but just like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah. And you're like, it's just like you have all of these things going on in your head, and you have this pressure and this, and then you have college, and then you have all these awards and accolades and this and that, and people throwing stuff at you left and right and all of that, and you have to weather all that storm just to play a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of that struggle of like releasing the beast and letting you just go out and play freely. Because I think once you're able to just play freely and you don't play so tight and you're not so worried about all the things that you can't control, I think that's just going to open up the entire book for you. And from coach to player now, I have to say, I thought it was going to be difficult for me to be able to just put the game down and try to coach someone else and try to like help them become better. But I mean, from the day that I stepped on campus as a coach and I seen you guys out there throwing right outside, you had this little bit in me that I saw of being the quiet, shy kid and not wanting to step on anybody's toes, but you had the magic, like you have the makeup to be a quarterback, not just because of your size, but by the way people follow you. And it's not because it's just inadvertent, it's because they want to do good things too. They want to do the right things too. And so watching you grow from the young, humble sophomore kid that I knew and be rad, and I tried to, get you to open up and come out of your shell, It's starting to finally bloom and come to fruition. And I think all of this that you've gone through now, all of this tough stuff that you've gone through from sophomore year to now it being your senior, it's all going to pay off, and it's all going to be something that you've been, whatever it is that you're thinking about. And for football, it's all going to open up for you. And being your coach, I'm proud to say that I am your coach, and I'm proud for those things that you do. And I don't want to tear up and get all sappy and stuff, but like, hey, it is so much fun to watch. And like, even when we're out there and just throwing and you're doing drills and stuff, and you do something that's amazing to me, and I'm just like, that's my guy. Like, he did that, and I was here to watch it, and I helped him get there, and it's just so cool. And I can't wait for other people to be able to see that and see what a great, not just football player you are, but a student athlete. Because it's when you get to college, and not many kids know what kind of grind it is, but you're 6 a.m. weights, 8 a.m. you got class, 12 you have to go to lunch, 1 o'clock I might have class again, then meetings, then practice, then film, then I got homework. Now I'm back at home 11 p.m., 12 o'clock, midnight, and I got to do it all over again. Right. And that's something that you've accustomed yourself to doing that with being with Coach Lewis in the morning, and then going to school, and then after school working with your receivers and stuff like that. So you're on the right path, you're on the right track for all of those things. And to be your coach and to see that, I'm proud of you for that, and I can't wait to see what you do next year. And I'm so fired up for that, and it's not even funny. Like, it's gonna be fun. Yeah. Because I mean, shoot, we always have fun basically, and I'm not much to yell and stuff. I mean, I might give you a little grief here and there, but it's like kind of it's not yelling at you, but yeah, like, right.
You know, I can do better than what because I've shown it.
Right.
But sometimes I just don't do it.
Right.
Like, I need to do it consistently and always.
Right. And it can get frustrating at times, but I know that you're always gonna put us in the position to win, and that you've put in the time and effort to help this team win. And it'll be exciting to see for your last year here. And I'm not going to put anything out there because I'm not going to give any newspaper clippings and stuff like that, but it's going to be special. Like, right. I can guarantee that for you. And so, Brad, thank you for sitting here with me. We are actually going to get you on the board a little bit and stretch that football knowledge and IQ. Sweet. And see what it's talking about. And so we are going to take a break, but when we come back, Brad, thank you very much.
Sure.
Appreciate it. And we'll be back. And we are back in class with a segment of Hot Mic. I'm here with quarterback Brad McClure of Xavier Prep, and we're going to get on the board here and talk a little football and some chalk talk and test Brad's knowledge and see what he knows. So the first thing I want to see is I'm going to give you a cover 3, and I want a play for that. And then you're going to walk me through it. So go ahead and drop your formation, and then I'll drop the defense for you.
So we're going trips right, which means we got 3 guys on the right side and 1 guy on the left.
Yep.
So we have here and here.
I like it.
And then singled up.
Cool. Okay, and I'll give you the coverage. Boom. We're going to go boom, safety, strong, linebacker, linebacker, linebacker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool. 11, right? And so they're in cover 3. Go ahead.
Okay. So for this play, my main read, first off, my main read would be this guy here, the strong safety.
And what's his responsibility?
He has, so in cover 3, the top guy's the safety has deep thirds, and the left guy has deep thirds.
Okay.
And so the strong safety is covering the flats. He's the flat defender.
Okay.
So to beat this, I would run a curl here,
Okay.
a 5-yard out here,
Okay.
and a post here.
Okay. And so walk me through how this guy is your read.
So for this, we're putting him in a bind is what might be the terminology.
Yeah.
So he sees, if he sees number 2 go out on the flat and he follows here, I'm just throwing the curl right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he decides to get depth and kind of fill this spot here,
Mm-hmm.
I would just automatically hit the 5-yard out. And so this guy's responsibility, though, what he's doing is if he's walling off this linebacker here, so that this guy, if he decides to mess up the play and try and get here, to wall off here, and this guy just to wall off the curl, and then this guy just decides to just go to the flat, and then they're both covered. So this guy kind of creates the natural wall.
I love it. And so what happens? So say we take a peek at this guy. This guy flies here. This backer is nowhere to be found. But we see this safety shoot over to the outside.
So if I see this guy shoot out here, then I'm just gonna hit the post right behind him for touchdowns.
It's for touchdowns. I love it. Good. Okay. So that is cover. So in cover 3, what we were talking about is we have the flat defender here. That's our guy in conflict, the guy in a bind, right? And we always talk about replacing the guy with the football, right? Yeah, go ahead.
I forgot one piece.
Oh, yeah.
So we have the quarterback and the running back.
Yep.
So here we kind of create that same concept on this side, but with the running back coming out the backfield on the 5-yard out the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the curl here.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case just in case this might be fogged up or just not clear,
Right.
we have this kind of like safety blanket.
And so who would be in the bind on this side?
It'd be the closest linebacker here.
Yes, that guy's the flat defender, right?
Yeah.
That's good stuff, right? So regardless, we're setting ourselves up. If we see cover 3, say there's more guys over here, well, fine. We'll take up the side over here, and we'll just read it out the same way.
Definitely.
That's excellent stuff. That's excellent stuff. Good. Okay. So let me give you a different coverage now. That's good stuff. Does it always have to be the running back here? Does it always have to be that out?
No, it doesn't.
He just has to be what?
The check down.
Yeah.
So like if he doesn't see any pressure coming from the inside, and then he kind of has a free release, he just there if everything is covered, and I just check him down.
Right. Okay. So now I'm going to give you cover 2.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. So now we're going doubles formation. So we have 2 guys on each side.
Okay.
Here. And X.
Okay.
So
Go ahead. There we go. Free. Linebacker. Help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Okay. So with this, we like to call it switch.
We
have here.
Okay.
This guy has the wheel coming off.
Okay.
And what this side does is put this guy in the bind.
Okay.
So if he decides to get depth, Well, in cover 2, they have
Yeah, so
halves
tell me
that-
their responsibilities.
Yeah.
What are the corners' responsibilities?
They have the flat.
Flats, right? So they're going to stay in this general area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in cover 2, what does that mean for these guys?
They have deep halves.
Deep halves, right? So if we're cutting the field in half, he's got this big area and he's got this big area, right?
Right.
Okay, so go ahead.
So with this route combination, we have the strong safeties in the bind, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he gets back and follows the post, since this guy has flats, this would be the nearest defender following him. So I just put the ball in this guy's hands.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets wide enough and he slips and Z slips the safety,
Mm-hmm.
then I would throw it in the middle field and on the post.
Right. So what we're looking at here is we have this deep half safety in the bind, right? And you said if he gets depth straight up, I'm hitting that wheel for the touchdown.
Right.
And if he widens out, then I'm going to replace him with the ball with that post. That's excellent stuff right
And then
there.
on this side of the field,
Mm-hmm.
we'd go the mandatory outside release.
Mm.
And then it's still putting this guy in the bind with
Yeah, because what's that guy doing?
seam. So he has deep halves, so he's checking 1 to 2, like 1 here, 2 here. So if he sees 1 get out, then he's going to go follow X. And so if this guy widens out and I see this is kind of murky over here,
Yep.
then eyes go here first and then come back to the middle of the field and this guy on the seam,
Yep.
on the hash.
I'm going to throw you a curveball right here, okay?
Yeah.
This guy's going to get depth over top. This guy's walked up. Where am I going with the ball?
Right away here.
Boom.
So I'm just if I see this guy walked up, I'll try and look at this receiver before the pre-snap,
Mm-hmm.
and if he sees it too, then we're on the same page, and I'm just throwing the ball here before he even gets this far.
Right, so we're throwing hot, right? That's our hot read. I love that. Good stuff. All right. Last thing I want to do, and because we haven't really talked about it, but it was such a huge play for us, especially against Nogales, and I got so much credit for it. I should get 0 credit for this. We ran choice like 4, 5, 6 times and kept completing it, and then you guys did something that was pretty excellent. That was between you and Trev Dog, right? So what was it that I'm talking about?
So we ran choice, and I believe their defense was like it was a weird kind of cover 4, I think.
Yeah, like a 3-man type deal going on.
Yeah, so they had
Go ahead
we're
and
in
draw it up.
choice.
Yep.
And Y, and then so Trevor's here, and we go. So for choice, we have the post by number 1.
Yep.
The dig, we like to call it, like a 10-yard in,
Yep.
by number 2, and then number 3 has the crossing route.
Beautiful.
And then normally on choice, we have a 10. Oh,
Yeah.
we have the 10-yard out as like our first.
That's first and foremost,
Yeah.
right? So if we got this guy playing off, we want to try to pump that out, right? Yep.
But if he's pressed, then we have the go.
Okay, so I'm going to give you, for choice, I'm going to give you the corner's position. You tell me what throw or what route we should be throwing on this, all right? Okay, so we first said if he's playing head up and off, what do we like?
We like the 10-yard out.
Yep, okay. If he's playing inside and pressed, what do we like?
We like the 9.
We like
go.
that. We like that fade route, right? We want to take the top off. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. What if he's playing pressed but outside technique?
Since he's outside, we're going to break it inside and probably run the slant.
Run the slant, right? Okay. Now, last one. What if he's playing off and outside?
If he's outside, obviously a 10-yard out wouldn't it would break it off. So we want to run the curl on the inside.
Right. And so, and we were talking about so how this guy played it in against Nogales, right? He was playing kind of in between. He knew that out was coming. Mm-hmm. So we ended up, did you guys communicate that? Or was that something that you said in the huddle? Or how did you guys get that out and up going?
So what kind of happened, we didn't like the side at all the entire game.
Right.
And so Trevor was getting pretty much, I'd say like half the catches. So we ran the 10-yard out at least 3 times before.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but this guy here, the linebacker here was kind of, since the 10-yard out was coming this way,
yeah,
he was kind of flowing out that way and cutting off.
Right.
And so we realized that we kind of just predicted it that he would do that exact play.
Right.
So I thought it in my head, the out and up would probably get him here and we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a big play. And then Trevor is always wanting to go deep, and I was like, so we're kind of both on the same page. Let's get him with the out and up. And so it worked, and it just was like, so we got the linebacker here actually did flow out.
Yep.
And this guy was expecting the 10-yard out, but then Trevor broke it up, and we hit him for like a 40-yard game.
Yeah, in stride. That was nice. Now, so say we get into a situation where you like your singled up side, but all of a sudden this guy just jams it up, and then this guy gets depth. Where would I be going with the ball right after that?
So first read is always to the choice side, and if this guy coming across would get in the picture about by the time that I see that this guy's covered up, so I just hit him right here for him to get upfield.
Right, so that the drag coming across becomes your next check down, right? That's good stuff. And now talk about how so we have the post, dig, drag. So if we don't like up our singled receiver side, what does this create for us here? Say it's cover 2.
So it creates levels. So we have the first level here, 1, 2, and 3 up top. So we go. We don't like the choice at first. Then I would choose. I would look here, and then if he's covered up, and this guy would come across later than this guy, so I'd look here, and if he's even covered up in cover 2, so if he's covered up, then we have cover 2. So this guy's got deep halves, and this safety has deep halves. So I'd look for the post just because they're splitting the safeties.
Right.
You have 2 high, so he's splitting the safeties.
So you create, it's like a natural high-low read everywhere, right? So if we have linebacker, that's good. And you can't explain that any better. Corner, free safeties here, right? So if you have him going out, or say he even bites on this guy bites here, this guy bites here, yeah, boom, we're hitting that. If he gets depth going here, these guys still bite on this, boom, we're getting here. These guys getting depth here, boom, we're going here, right? So it's creating those natural levels up there, okay?
We have an answer for every situation.
Dang right. Hey, and Mouse and June would love that answer right there. We have an answer for everything. That's good stuff. Last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a play on the board, talk about it, and then you go ahead and do it. All right. Cool. This is good stuff. And while I'm doing that, since we did bring up June and Mouse, what's one thing that you, being in the run and shoot and being a run and shoot guy, and you're Jim Kelly, the package, the same exact thing that Mouse had to deal with the Houston Gamblers. What's one thing that you would want to say to him or June?
So to both of them, I would like to ask a question about how, since they are the ones who actually, kind of formed the run and shoot offense.
Right.
I'd probably like to ask from their perspective, what were they seeing and how it could beat defenses compared to how I might see it, and they might see different aspects of it, like certain reads and different how they kind of hit in the same spots, like base, but how different combinations of routes could hit in the same spots.
Right. It's almost, and it's so funny why teams don't do it more, because one, it gives you guys the ownership on the field, and two, if you practice it enough, you have, like you said, an answer for everything. Right. Yeah. So I would be that is an excellent question. I'd be curious too, like how did they from back then understand how it's being developed now? Exactly. That's huge. Yep. Okay, so the play that I'm going to draw up, it's one of our bread and butters, basically. It's that slide concept, right? What do we call it? Chop? Yeah, so chop, right? We have our 5-step slant, we got bubble, and we got that MIR, right? Okay, so if I'm in a cover 3 situation, just like what we talked about, I have linebackers, right? So cover 3, we talked about this guy's getting deep thirds. This guy's our curl flat concept, right? He's getting here or here, okay? This guy is hook to curl, so he's getting depth here. He's getting the middle of the field, and he is curl flats over here. He actually has hook to curl going this way, okay? So in this situation, just like what we said, this guy's in our conflict. So what I like to do all the time is stare, boom, point my eyes right at that bubble and come back and hit that slant behind it, right? Because we have this natural wall walling off this guy. Now, if he gets depth, I'm going to just pump this right away and take what I can get, right? Okay. Don't mess around, right? Good. Okay. Do the same thing. Cover 2.
All right.
You want me to draw the defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Go ahead. Do the trips.
All right. So with slide, obviously. 5-step slant.
Yep.
Coming this way. Bubble.
Why do we say 5-step slant?
So the way the way it hits, 5-step slant gives it more time, or gives me more time to put the ball in the right spot. So and it also forces the flat defender here. So let's see, or here, flat defender here to, it forces him to make a longer decision, which gives me more time. So if he sees this guy's getting vertical and then all of a sudden breaks it off to the middle, he might realize that already after he's gone out to the bubble. So we would just hit it right behind him.
Right. Okay. And it's good stuff too, because like you said, that guy pushes vertical. Mm-hmm. So the other guy that gets messed up in that too for cover 3 would be that guy getting the corner, getting depth that way too, which opens it up, which is nice. Okay, so I'm going to give you cover 2 for this. Linebacker, corner, strong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool.
Okay. So in cover 2, the corners, to reiterate it, the corners have the flats. The safeties have deep halves here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And flats, yep.
So this guy's responsibility would be anything coming out to the flats, which is obviously the bubble. Mm-hmm. And this guy going here, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Hook to curl.
Yep.
So since he has hook to curl, this is kind of where we have to build our chemistry with receivers, where they have to be able to see cover 2 as well, and how this guy's pressed up on them. So they have to do whatever they need to do here to get open. So any moves they need to do here and then get open, and they need to settle down in this window between the flat defender, which is the corner, and this guy getting here. So there's the lane here would be where this guy needs to sit down, because if he travels goes too far into this window, he's covered up by this guy.
Right.
And just to make it easier for both me and the receiver, he should sit down here, and I just pump the ball right there.
Right. And so we talk about finding windows, right, as the receivers, being able to find those windows. So this would be a window where we're trying to pump it into that first spot. Right. What would be something, okay, so say we come out in this same formation and all of a sudden dummy-o defensive guy just shoots out here. Right. And now he's playing in this window here. Now what?
So this guy has to continue across going this way and just get behind this, it'll be what we consider to be the second window, because the first window is here, and the second window would be behind this linebacker.
Okay. Same thing. This guy walked up.
So if I see this guy walk up, I'm going to look here just to get his eyes here and then pump the MIR right behind him.
That's it, right? I love it. That's just basic cover, just knowing the stuff and just working at it and just getting it going. That's big time stuff for a senior quarterback to know all of those things, and those are just a couple of plays that get us going there, and that's great stuff. And I mean, shoot, that makes me, dude, I was so fired up over here, just smiling the entire time. Like things like this is not easy for young quarterbacks. So, Brad, thank you so much. One last time,
yes, sir.
Thank you. And when we come back, we are going to wrap up some class. And we are back in class. I am Michael Carls, and I am here live at Xavier College Prep, where we just went through Hot Mike with quarterback Brad McClure. We sat down with him, talked about what it's like being at a faith-based school like Xavier Prep, and what it's like being the leader of this small-knit community. And what just a bright young man, great future ahead of him. And then, as you can see on the board, able to crush it in all those types of facets. It's going to be exciting to see Xavier Prep in their maturation and their change from being known for their big players like Fabrice Voin and their defense being so stout, and see what Brad can do as a senior leader to be able to lead his team into games and win them and possibly a championship. And I want to thank Brad and Xavier College Prep for allowing me to come here, be able to talk to them and sit down and showcase their best players. And it's great to be able to get these players out in the Valley and being able to get their name out there, and that's what we want to do here in class as much as we can. We want to promote these players and show how great they are, and show these schools that if you don't come to the Valley, you're missing out on some great talent. So if there are any other schools in the Valley that want us to come and showcase your player, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, volleyball, any of them, please do not hesitate to ask. We are more than willing to come and promote your players and talk to them and see what it's like being a student athlete in the Valley and all the things that come along with it. And as we close up this last week of class, it's been a great one, and I just want to thank, yet again, I want to thank Donnie Fitzgerald and Coachella Valley High School and Brad McClure and Xavier College Prep for allowing me to interview them and put them on the board. And it's only gonna get better from here. It's gonna be a great few months coming forward. We have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new stuff we want to get to, and a lot of other things that we want to keep bringing back to you, because we enjoy having these guys on and being able to talk to them. Those are the real stars of the Valley, and if we can keep continuing to do that, it's just going to get better and better. And so on behalf of Coachella Sports and Entertainment Stadium Authority, I am Michael Carls, and class is dismissed.